Ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is brought to you by The Greatness Continues LLC. And you are now tuned into the greatest conversations, starring Greasy Two Times, Shaka the Wise, Sensei J, the Masked Man, Big Z, and your host, D. Jones. Once again, you are tuned into the greatest conversations.
I feel like the way that they look at people now, the way that they look at the government, the way the government looks at applications now, right? There's 35 billion people in the United States.
Oh, I thought they just had like an algorithm that.
No, you can just if you filed your taxes and you filed with
Yeah, that's why they still do the.
Yeah, you filed with African American.
Whatever it's called when they go door to door.
That's what they did. That's what they learned.
Census.
They just
The
look at
census,
everybody's application, and they have the census. You just say who labeled as African American over the age of whatever.
Oh, for real?
Send them the money.
But what about all that? Okay, because we're a couple of generations behind. What about the money for them?
What do you mean money for them?
There are like generations of slaves since slavery started.
Oh, the stimulus is not reparations in any
what are you talking
way,
about?
form, or
Generations?
shape.
So I'm saying,
Like you talking about like
Yeah, he's talking about reparations.
Yeah.
Is the 1400? Is it one time, or is that recurring?
It's one
It's a
time.
one time.
But what do you say?
Bro,
Like,
they're giving
I'm
us
talking reparations is
$1,400
a
after a
thing.
year later.
I would
How long
assume
did we
that you're
get
going
that
to get
600?
paid for like each slave.
Yeah, but we got 12
You had
total
the
so
slaves
far.
that came over.
Well, no.
Like, how are you going to decide who's getting
12 for the first one.
reparations? It's like,
no, you
we got
just
1,200.
give, no, you just give,
Six
you give
the second
everybody
time.
who
We haven't.
you give
So they're just going to get black people in general.
African Americans, yeah. But your girl, what's her name? Kamala Harris. They asked her that specific question, and she could have said black people. You know what this woman said? She said they're gonna, if they do that, they're gonna go by how much people make. And I said that is the dumbest shit, because you got black people who done made it and not gonna get that money because you can be white and get
Yeah,
that
because
money.
they struggle for a certain
Yeah,
amount of
because you
time.
struggle for so long. Now you meet the
But
requirements.
finally,
because
you're in
struggling.
that higher tax bracket.
Yeah, and look it up. Kamala
Yeah.
Harris responds to reprimands or whatever you guys want to call that shit. You know, she said they're looking at a way to get people based on their income, which automatically assumes in her mind that every black person in the United States is poor, and that's not the case. And I mean, maybe she did. Maybe that's not what she was thinking. But when somebody says, if I ask somebody, "Hey, bro, how are you gonna pay back everybody?"
I guess you want to give it to Jay-Z.
Jay-Z deserves it though. Like, is he
It's
not
not about
black?
if you deserve it or not. It's about how they design stuff. But in my opinion too, I have a hot take. I think that a lot of people that was enslaved was already over here.
Oh, so you don't
Black
think
people.
there was some black people?
I think a lot of
Like
people
Native
already over here.
Americans and stuff like that.
Nah,
Oh, you mean instead of brought over on the ship?
Before the
Yeah, I think
slave,
it's
before the
some-
slave trade, there was African Americans.
I think majority
The
of
land bridge.
we already been over here. We had boats.
Well,
they have what's the name? King like Massa Musa?
Yeah, because the Lee Erickson story.
because if you're going to talk about that history too, like, that would probably have to go back into... They talk about Pangea before all the continents actually, like...
It's not even
No,
that.
it's it's King Massa Musa. I
They
think
was
his
over
name.
here.
He's like the world's
They just
richest
got boats on.
king.
He
He
was.
sent people across the world to find new lands to rule.
I ain't know.
True, yeah.
His-
True.
his-
What's the name? King Massa.
It's like
you never heard of Massa Musa?
King Massa
No, I
Musa.
just asked it for no reason.
He was doing it for the audience.
Yeah, bro. His
King
net worth
Massa
be like
Musa,
over
y'all.
over a couple billion.
Yeah,
Today.
he was rich.
That's how much he had back then.
Yeah.
So how you spell that?
MASAMUSA.
Yeah.
But the reason why I thought about that too, because when black people got sick, they tossed them overboard, and they would toss over a lot of slaves. And to me, if you gonna consider like them at that time as product, it makes no sense for you to like just waste your product coming over here. And what happened to all the Native Americans?
Nah, history's definitely been.
They slaughtered them.
Nah, history's been. I feel like.
But I feel like.
But that was more to take over their land.
Yeah, I feel
Well, you know, it's a lot of like black people that like that like your great grandmothers or whatever. You ever look at pictures? They had like kind of straighter hair, and they always like mixed with like Native American. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of
the
black people.
Tribe, the Blackfoot tribe.
So like to me,
black
Native
Americans.
Because it's like, because to me, I feel like it's like in history like a gray area. What happened to all the Native Americans? You know, all they say is they came over here, they had Thanksgiving, and now George Washington and all them was just over here.
Yeah, Andrew Jackson sent them on a Trail of Tears, and they were never heard of again.
Between us and their own like tribal wars and stuff, it's like I'm sure there's
Bro, they're
a lot of
foul shit when they pulled up here.
I know.
Foul. They're raping, bro.
Because you got to think about that. Like, they were already going to war, within themselves, like tribe versus tribe type of thing from time to time. I'm sure, as far as the history that we're
like
Big Z think history.
But then we come over here and just start,
Big Z thinks history
wrecking shit.
You mean they?
I think slavery. Big Z thinks slavery wasn't as bad in certain parts.
Then they came over.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Hold up.
Big Z thinks there's a big gap in history where slaves, like in certain areas, were actually treated really, really good versus what we see every day as far as getting like killed. Like I do believe slaves would be.
Oh, but there's certain slaves that it's like a hierarchy type thing. Like the people that they like get closer to be an
and that
influence.
shit's instilled in our roots with the coon shit.
Yeah, to be an influence on other. Yeah.
But you talking about over here or just worldwide?
I mean, here in America, definitely, but just worldwide, I think that the idea of slave, when someone says slave, they think getting whipped and beat. But Big Z thinks that there were slaves that were just like regular, everyday.
Well, yeah, like even in Bible times, like a slave was just
I guess like indentured servants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like when Big Z looks at today's world.
Yeah, but you know that if they didn't do what they're supposed to do, they can be punishable by death. So they
I think that's what makes somebody a slave, is like your property, and you don't have like rights in a sense. But with that doesn't mean that someone has to get beat all the time. It just means that they're your property. You can do whatever you want with them. Doesn't mean you got to treat them bad. Because in a sense, I was reading an article and it was talking about how a lot of poor farmers had slaves and were looked down upon by rich slave masters because of the way that they treated their slaves. And they
with respect and
like they beat their slaves and they thought that was a bad move.
You actually being nice to this.
Yeah, they thought that was a bad move for poor farmers, because poor farmers were like beat and beat them and mark them like cattle, and the rich like populace in the South was like, that's not how you do that shit. This is the shit that the North was talking about, and that's why they were able for so long, like the Mason-Dixon line, how like a lot of people in the North would be like, we gotta free these African Americans. Well, the rich people in the South would be like, they're not being treated that bad. Look. And they would go and visit, and they weren't being treated that bad. But the poor farmers was like, look, we gotta make a quick buck. We need slaves. So they'll get the slaves like hand-me-downs, not the best quality of slave.